If you are a prospective intern or a music therapy student, you're welcome to communicate with us using the chat function of our Zoom. And you're welcome to have your camera visible to us or turned off. If you're an internship director on this call right now, how our internship will work is that when it's your turn to present, we will give you the floor. Internship directors will present for roughly 10 minutes. We'll have an AMTAS member keeping time just so we can be respectful of everybody's afternoon. And then following each presentation, we will transition to the next one. And then we'll have an important section at the end of each session to have a question and answer portion. So welcome once again to the American Music Therapy Association Students Internship Fair. Today we have 2 sessions laid out for you. All of our internship sites on this event today are national roster internships. We have our first session featuring medical sites, and our second session will feature non-medical sites. On the screen right now, it notes that our medical internship site feature will happen from now until 4:15 Eastern Standard Time, and then our non-medical will happen from 4:20 to 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. I have closed captionings enabled right now on my PowerPoint. So if you're someone who is interested in utilizing those, when my PowerPoint ends, you'll have to indicate that on your Zoom, and it will give those closed captions for you in real time. Most importantly, before we get into more announcements, our internship fair will be recorded and posted on our website. That's www.amtas.org. So you can access these recordings after the event. That way you have all the information at the fingertips. So without further ado, our announcements for this event are as followed. On the screen, you can see there are 2 QR codes. These QR codes links will be put in the chat. The QR code on the left hand of the screen, if you'll go ahead and scan that, that is our event program. So on the program, it walks through our schedule for today. It walks through additional information about national roster internship sites. And it also walks through a really important piece of today's event, which is musical repertoire prep. So we asked all of our internship sites to give us information on what music our students should be preparing as they enter the application process and attempt to apply and receive their internship. And so there's a lot of song names on that list. So we wanted to make sure that we had a different element as well to prepare our students for their internship. Again, the program is the QR code on the bottom left-hand side. And then if you're a student on this call, we also ask that you scan the QR code on the right-hand side. If you're looking at the screen, that QR code is a little bit larger, and that's just for students to sign in. We want to know where you're coming from today, what region you're here for, and what how you got here. So how you heard about our AMTAS internship fair. So if you're a student, go ahead and fill that out. And then just so we have it here, you can still have access to that program. Again, these links are posted in the chat, and they will continue to be posted in the chat. So our program link and then our sign-in link as well. Moving on, we're going to just take a couple seconds to tell you who we are. So welcome to our fall internship fair. I've said that many times, but we are so excited to present to you today in attempts to sort of connect students and interns in a virtual time period for AMTA and for student learning. So we are the American Music Therapy Association students. This event is hosted by AMTAS, and the purpose of all of our activities throughout the year and the purpose of AMTAS, the collective, is to promote and foster an advanced education training for its members. So we're here to serve students, and this is a really unique way that we get to do that today. If you are not already linked in with us, we have a Facebook page we have an Instagram page, and then we have a website. So once you click on these things in the chat, and once you scan the QR code, it'll actually take you to links that are directly found on our website, amtas.org. And then our Instagram is @_AMTAS_. And you can find our professional page on Facebook at Music Therapy Association or American Music Therapy Association students. So if you haven't already, please connect with us in that way. That is the quickest way to sort of see what AMTAS is doing. We post events like this on there. We also highlight some of the other ways that we serve our communities. In addition to serving our communities, AMTAS is currently fundraising. So if you're interested in supporting your student community or students in general, we'll put the link in the chat. This is an Etsy shop that we have created, and it's currently going on. So as you can see on the screen here, we have a lot of merchandise for sale. We have shirts, we have tote bags, we have posters, we have stickers, everything you could ever need as a music therapy student or as an internship director who is looking to support music therapy students. We'll post this in the chat, and we can go from there. But if you're interested in supporting us, this would be well appreciated. All of our money that we raise from this merchandise fundraiser and from the rest of our AMTAS fundraisers goes directly into our students' pockets via scholarships. Alrighty. I am at my last slide here, or my second to last slide. I see that there is a question in the chat. Thanks, Anna, for grabbing the answer to that. So how this event works, I explained it a little bit, but interns, prospective students will just kind of sit and observe. The way that you interact for our chat will be just popping a question in the chat, also popping a question into the form that was listed there. Alongside the information that you will experience, the internship sites will present their information. We also have all of their fact sheets, all of their information in this Google folder. So if you'll take some time right now and scan the QR code located on the left side of the screen, this is a Google folder that AMTAS has, and it has all the internship sites information. It's organized alphabetically from A to Z, and it's sort of a master list of all the internship sites. This includes their region, their setting, their population, and then alongside there's a few other folders. Sorry, not a few, there's many. There was 40 plus internships that responded to us today. So those have their contact information and additional information about their site as well. It's important to note that 40 plus is a lot. So we only have about 12 to 13 internships being presenting today on our fair. We hope to have more events in the future that highlight the other internships as well, but we want to make sure that we are respectful of our time this afternoon, and that we have enough time to actually look into and have that connection with the internship sites. We want to make sure that it's important and that it's impactful for everybody on this call today. So if you haven't already, go ahead and scan that code on the left side of the screen. This gives you access to our Google folder. Again, this folder is also listed on our website, so you can reference it alongside all the information that we'll give you as well. Okay, last slide, and then we'll invite our AMTAS member to introduce our first internship director. We want to thank you, most importantly. We've had a lot of support on this event, and we want to recognize it. So first of all, I want to thank the AMTA clinical training consultant, Veronica, for all of your support and contacts and management throughout this whole event. I also want to thank the AMTA Vice President, Andrea Dalton, for helping us with our Zoom information, assisting us whenever we need to, and sending us emails as we get more students to be logged on and registered for this event. Next, I want to highlight our current advisors and co-advisors alongside our liaison of AMTA. So that is Adrian Steiner Brett, Jenny Driscoll, Angie Snell, and our regional student boards as well. This internship would be nothing without our internship director. So I want to thank you guys today for coming to this event and continuing to invest in students, even in a time of virtual learning and virtual connection. I want to thank our AMTAS board just for organizing this event and so supporting our student communities and supporting our prospective interns. There's been a lot of work on the back end of this event. As you can tell, things are very well organized. And it is definitely a group effort for that. So thank you guys as well. And then most importantly, we're here today for our students and our prospective interns. So thank you guys for expressing interest in our event today. And we continue to stand with you and stand by you and hope to support you on all aspects of your music therapy student journey. And this does include being an intern as well. So without further ado, I'm going to unshare my screen and we'll move on.
All right, thank you everybody. So starting off our fall internship fair, we'd like to welcome Ashley Hall from Big Bend Hospice.
Hi everyone, can you hear me okay? All right. My name is Ashley Hall. I'm the internship director at Big Bend Hospice in Tallahassee, Florida. It's still hot down here in Tallahassee, even though we're nearing the end of November, so that's not fair. I hope that you all have better weather than we do. I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about our site. So we are a national roster internship, so we accept students from all over the country. We have 4 start dates throughout each year: January, May, July, and November. And I typically set an application deadline about 6 to 7 months before each start date. So if it turned out that you're interested in our site, please send me an email and I will let you know when that deadline is approaching. We are a nonprofit organization. We are the hometown hospice of Tallahassee, Florida, which means we like to stay small. We like to have the hometown feel. We are not a large corporate hospice. Right now, our total census is about 425 patients, and that is over the span of 8 counties. So we serve Tallahassee and then the greater Tallahassee area, the surrounding rural counties. I did my internship here at Big Bend Hospice in 2010. And so I know what it's like to be an intern and to go through the entire process. I've worked elsewhere early in my career as inpatient psych hospital. Then I did a little bit of nursing home activity directing jobs. But since then, since 2014, I've been back at Big Bend Hospice. So I'm approaching my 10-year anniversary at our company. I'm so happy to still be here at Big Bend Hospice. I think I have the best job in the world and get to meet the best students in the country. So I love what I do, and I would appreciate lots and lots of applications. We're looking for strong students. I'll go ahead and tell you a little bit about hospice in general. The world of hospice is palliative care, so we are not working toward rehabilitative goals. We're working toward palliative and comfort goals. So what does that look like for music therapy? That looks like increasing comfort, decreasing pain, decreasing shortness of breath, decreasing agitation, anxiety, or depression. That means increasing spiritual support, increasing emotional support, increasing socialization or mood elevation. We do a lot of instrument play with our patients. If they're able-bodied, if they're able to shake a shaker, we'll give them a shaker or a tambourine. Some of our patients are definitely able to sit up and play instruments. We have disease processes of all diagnoses. So a lot of times people will think hospice and they'll think, oh, that's just so sad. How can you do that? I get asked that a lot. And we have a motto at Big Bend Hospice that you live until you die. So let's make our patients' lives as good as we possibly can for as long as they're here with us. So speaking of all of that, quality of life is our biggest goal, right? No matter if the patient has late stage dementia and is non-responsive, they can still hear the music that we're providing. They can still feel us hold their hand. But then you have patients that can sit up and talk and engage in life review and reminiscence. We can write a song together about their life. That's something that we do very often. If they are interested in playing instruments with us, we can give them whatever they're physically able to play, and we can have a grand old time. So the hospice world is not always doom and gloom and sad. It definitely can be very sad sometimes. We do a lot of emotional support, a lot of supportive counseling with our patients and families during this difficult time that they're going through. But we also can have a grand time with singing and playing instruments. We have 6 full-time music therapists at Big Bend Hospice, and including myself, right now we have 3 internship supervisors. So I am the internship director. We have a gentleman named Kevin Poor, who's been with the agency for almost 8 years. He was one of my former interns, and so he provides direct supervision for interns. Then we have another lady named Caitlin Beard, who just recently became a supervisor with us as she reached her 2-year anniversary with us. And she's also an excellent music therapist, excellent supervisor. Each intern at Big Bend Hospice is placed on our team called the Care and Comfort Team, which it basically just means our nursing home assisted living facility team. So that intern will sit on an interdisciplinary team with a physician, several nurses, a social worker, a spiritual care counselor, hospice aides, which are CNAs, volunteers, and the other music therapist on their team. We provide holistic care for our patients. We're constantly in communication with our physician, nurses, social workers, spiritual care counselors to address the patient as a whole person. And the music therapy department is fully integrated into the treatment team. So we also document into our electronic medical record system. Every patient that we see is its own independent documentation note. So we spent a lot of time documenting. I'd like to talk a little bit about the patients that we see. So our biggest 3 diagnoses are going to be Alzheimer's and dementia, a variety of cancers, and also cardiopulmonary diseases. So a lot of our patients are hospital bed bound or recliner to chair bound. We like to sit down and visit with the patient wherever they are most comfortable. So sometimes that's the kitchen table, sometimes that's the bedroom, sometimes that's the front porch. I like to joke with my families when they ask, what is music therapy? What are you going to do when you get here? Part of my spiel for them is I've done music therapy everywhere: kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, front porch, back porch, you name it, we've done it. As long as your loved one is comfortable, we can just plop down with our guitar and start our visit. So we definitely provide all live music. Most of our music therapists are going to be playing classical guitars. Sometimes we bring keyboards if that patient would like a different source of stimuli. But our main instrument that we provide is rhythm guitar and accompanying vocals. We require a very large amount of repertoire for our internship site. So I'm often asked by interns, what's the hardest part of internship? And I would personally say just the rep. At midterm, our interns are required to have 25 memorized songs, and by final, they're required to have 50 songs, which are newly learned during internship for patient preferred music. It's a lot of old music, a lot of old country, a lot of old jazz, 20s, 30s, 40s music. But we learn everything. We learn 60s and 70s, Southern rock. We learn, unfortunately, we have people of all ages that are under our program. So sometimes we will get younger patients, and that's always a little more difficult. But there's always grandkids and great grandkids hanging around sometimes in the house or visiting. So you never know, you might need a Disney song or two there as well. So it's not always just the old music. We do provide a $4,500 stipend that is paid over the 6.5 months. So each month on the first, we put in that check request, and it turns out to be about $643 a month. We also provide mileage reimbursement for our interns and all employees. I think it's 55 cents a mile right now, reimbursement, and sometimes that goes up and down. Our interns stay in Leon County. Our interns do not work in the rural counties. We save those counties for our MTBCs. But every week, the intern has direct supervision with me and the other internship supervisors. One more thing I should probably tell you, we do have an inpatient unit in our main office in Tallahassee, which is a 12-bed inpatient hospice house, we call it. And that is where patients can come in for respite care or for general inpatient for symptom management. So we have one of our full-time staff members is there, as well as music therapists in each outer county team. I hope I gave a good spiel for us. I know it's a lot in a short amount of time, but I'm definitely open to hearing your questions. And before I hand it over, I'll just tell one short patient story about a songwriting project I did several years ago. It was around this time of year, approaching Christmas, and had an old gentleman who I had visited every week for several months. He and his wife were very talkative. They really enjoyed having company over. He was always wearing oxygen. He was very short of breath, so I had to make sure that he didn't talk too much. So I would play some songs in between and make sure he had some time to catch his breath before talking to me. Eventually I just asked him, you have such an interesting life, and I think you have a lot of really wonderful things to say. Would you like to write a song about your life? And of course he just said, oh, I don't think I can do that. I'm not very musical. And I said, that's okay. You just tell me all your favorite memories of your life. I'll write them down and I'll do all the hard music stuff. It turns out it was an excellent songwriting project. It was amazing. We talked all about how his mother and father were immigrants from Holland, and all the careers he had. He served in the military, all his children and grandchildren. We put all of the children and grandchildren's names into the song. It was very special. And when it was all wrapped up and done, he said, okay, Ashley, I'm going to need 12 copies of my song so I can send them to my grandchildren for Christmas. So we packaged it up with his CD and gave him the lyrics of his life song, and the family framed it and put it on the wall of their homes, which will last for generations. So very special work that we do in hospice care. I have the best job in the world. I work with the best people in the world and the best students in the world. So happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashley. That was just such a impactful story. I really enjoyed hearing it. Is Amy in the chat? Amy Love? Okay, so now we will move on to Kate McCall from Behavior Services and Therapy.
Hello, can everybody hear me? Cool. All right. I work at Behavior Services and Therapy. I'm the internship director there. We are a small for-profit company in Southbend, Indiana, and we primarily work with people who are on the Medicaid waiver. So that could be a range of ages from 2 to however old you are. Probably my oldest client is 82. And they primarily have intellectual and developmental disabilities. We also offer behavioral support, so behavioral consulting and recreational therapy at Behavior Services and Therapy, as well as a psychology clinic, and so that's outpatient clinic. And we will soon, 2024, we'll have a med clinic as well, so a psychiatrist there as well. Our program for music therapy, we allow the music therapy interns to shadow all of the different modalities of therapy because they are on our clients' teams. So they do get to see all the different therapies, which is really cool. We have about 11 music therapists full time, and the music therapy interns get to shadow and work with all of them throughout their internship. We have 2 cycles so starting in January to about mid-June, and then July through mid-December. And we usually accept about 3 interns per round because we have one music therapy intern supervisor as well, along with me. And then let's see. Our interns get about 20 to 23 clients that they see weekly. Some they do see maybe twice a week, depending on the music therapist that they're with. They get that schedule handed to them their first day. So then they get to know all of the clients that they're with. They do their large project. They select a couple clients within that caseload that they do their large project and case study on. And it's all up to them. And then they also do a large group. We have a rock band, a client rock band that our interns run. And we have sorry, I'm nervous. I don't talk to a lot of people. So I'm sorry, I'm saying a lot. So we have a client rock band, and they work towards a concert at the end of their internship, and it's a huge deal. All the clients love it. We look forward to it every round. We have our Christmas concert coming up, and so it's the talk of the town right now. And then we also have a ukulele choir that the previous intern actually started as her large project. And so we have continued that, and that allows some of our clients to have social interaction where they don't normally do, because most of our sessions are one-on-one within our homes, because we are community-based primarily, but we do have a clinic where we do have a couple music rooms that clients can come to. And because we are community-based, our mileage is reimbursed, which is a nice check every month for our interns. We are currently working on a stipend. We don't have one right now, but got to poke the boss every month about that. We're trying to get that. That's one of our goals for hopefully 2020, end of 2024 cycle or 2025 cycle. And yeah, we've had some very successful rounds of interns, I believe 7 so far. So we're relatively new program, but we love it, and it's very entertaining. I love going to work every day, because you never know what you're walking into with our population, because they could be having a really good day, or they could not be. And you never know, because you're going into their home, it's their setting and their environment, and you're bringing things into that. So you never know really what's going to happen. So you got to have a lot of things up your sleeve and be very flexible and things like that. We do have our website is up and running, and our application is on that. Is Behavior Services and it's Michiana BST. And I believe it was put on the Google Doc as well, so you can find that there. And yeah, there's not much else. I thought we had 10 minutes, so I did it quickly. But yes, every day is a fun day. So yeah, I'm done.
All right, thank you very much, Kate. Next, we'll be moving on to Mackenzie Aldridge from Huntsman Cancer Institute.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today and sharing some time to learn about different internship programs. So like Colin mentioned, my name is Mackenzie Aldridge. I'm the internship director and internship supervisor for Huntsman Cancer Institute. We're actually a brand new site, so we are still kind of exploring having interns and enjoying the process. So we'd be super excited to get applicants. with that being said, we have 4 internship slots per year, starting in January, then in April, October, and July. And each internship lasts for 6 months or 1,040 hours. We are in Salt Lake City, Utah. It's a super beautiful hospital, and we're kind of nestled right into the foothills of the Wasatch Mountains. So our hospital, it actually has some walking trails behind it that go right into the mountains, and all of our patients' rooms have been specifically designed to feel more like a hotel kind of experience. So they're kind of luxury hospital rooms, which is nice because we are a cancer hospital, so patients are typically there for a longer time than maybe like a surgical unit or just kind of a more general medical setting. Our patients, we work from mostly adults, so mostly 18 and up, but actually 1 day a week we work with our pediatric patients as well. And that's because we have a really amazing radiation oncology unit, and we have the only proton therapy machine in the Mountain West. So kids come from all over the Mountain West, which would be Wyoming, Utah, Idaho, Nevada, and Montana, to receive that proton therapy. It's a little less invasive than your traditional radiation therapy, which is extremely important for our younger patients because they're still developing and growing, and we want to nourish and encourage that as much as we can, while at the same time treating their cancer. So our music therapy program at Huntsman Cancer Institute is located within our Wellness and Integrative Health Center. I love our Wellness Center so much because we offer all sorts of integrative and complementary therapies to support and enhance the more traditional medicine that our patients are getting, like chemo and infusions and surgeries and all of that stuff. So our Wellness Center offers music therapy, we offer acupuncture, we offer massage therapy, art making and creative writing classes, as well as fitness classes. And the really cool thing about this is it's available to all of our patients, all of their loved ones, so family members or caregivers of any kind, and all of our staff at Huntsman Cancer Institute, because we do recognize it's difficult working with folks who have cancer. And so we want to take care of our staff members too. Some different groups that we offer for our patients, caregivers, and staff in terms of music therapy are a guitar class, a ukulele class. We are in the process of starting a choir. So that will include, again, all of our patients, caregivers, and staff, a really nice way to kind of bridge that gap between provider and patient, or loved one and doctor, and all of that sort of stuff. And aside from that, we also offer a jam session. Just open to anybody who wants to come, whatever they want to sing, whatever instrument they want to play, they can come and jam after work with us. This being said, most of our work at Huntsman is more on a one-on-one setting that happens with the patient and or their loved ones inside their hospital room at bedside. We see folks from before their diagnosis to all the way up to end of life. So we see really the whole span of cancer treatment. We do offer a stipend. It's a $4,000 stipend, and I actually just found out that our stipend will be dispersed bi-weekly. So interns will receive a paycheck, and I did the math, and it comes out to around $300 bi-weekly before taxes, but it accumulates to $4,000. Yeah. We are part of a multidisciplinary team, so we co-treat with our PTs, our OTs, our social workers, our chaplains, our spiritual care personnel. We work closely with our supportive oncology and survivorship team, which kind of take on the more palliative or hospice care cases. So we really, again, see patients all over their cancer journeys. One thing that I'm really proud of at Huntsman is that we offer something called a heartbeat recording, which I know a lot of music therapists enjoy doing and provide for their patients. But we have a little stethoscope that records an audio file of the patient's heartbeat. And then we work kind of in a production setting to make that heartbeat sound really steady and full and robust. And then we work with the patient, if they're able to, or their family members, to create some music to go along with that heartbeat. So some folks just want like some nice instrumental music to enhance and support the heartbeat, kind of give it a nice container to be listened to in. Some folks want to write an original song alongside our music therapist. Some folks have a meaningful song. Like I had a patient recently who wanted 2 heartbeat recordings, one for her mom and one for her son. So for her son, she chose the song that she would sing to him most often as a lullaby. And for her mom, she chose the song that her mom would sing to her as a lullaby. So it's a really tender moment and something very special we can offer to patients and their families to offer that legacy and that memento for after the patient passes. I think this would be a really great internship for anybody interested in working in a medical setting, particularly in a medical setting that receives a lot of high acuity cases. We're the only National Cancer Institute designated comprehensive cancer center in the Mountain West. So we do see like the most acute cases from those more remote areas who need a higher level of care. They'll come all the way to Salt Lake City, even if they're in the middle of Montana, they'll come to us because we can offer that really specialized care. Aside from that, our music therapy team is small but mighty. There are 2 of us. So that ensures that you get a lot of individualized support from both myself and our other music therapist that works full-time there. And it's just a really great internship site. I was excited to have some more applicants. My application and fact sheet, you can email me for those. My email is just mackenzie.aldrich. My name is just right there. So you can probably write it down if you'd like, at hci.utah.edu. We are under the umbrella of the University of Utah Healthcare. So we are all on the same campus with the University of Utah Hospital, our eye center for ophthalmology, as well as Primary Children's Hospital. And also we're right next to Huntsman Mental Health Institute. So Primary Children's and Huntsman Mental Health Institute are also internship sites. And we like to foster an environment of kind of collaboration between those sites. So you can meet interns from other hospitals and maybe even shadow a day over at the mental health hospital, shadow for a day over at Primary Children's, and vice versa. So yeah, I think that's all I have for you. Please reach out with any questions and I'll be on for the Q&A as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mackenzie. Next, I'd like to welcome Susan Glassbell from Springfield Hospital Center.
Thank you, Colin. Hi, I'm Susan Glassbell. I am the music therapy supervisor and internship director at the hospital. I also have the privilege and joy of being the Mid-Atlantic region's representative to IAC committee. So I get to review and approve, help to review and approve all of the national roster internships sites in the United States. So that's been a lot of fun. So our program, Springfield Hospital Center, is a forensic psychiatric hospital. All of our patients come to us from the courts, and they all have some kind of criminal thing. I can't think of the word, but they all have gone to court. They've been referred to the hospital for either treatment to restore competency. They get treatment because they have a mental illness and that caused them to do the crime that they did. And so as soon as the patients come into the hospital, we are working to get them out. We are working to get them their conditional release, get them back into community living situation and programs that will occupy their time during the day and give them some more skills that they need. So we have 3 buildings in our hospital where the patients reside and do all of their groups. We have an admissions building, which has 4 units, and that's where you will see the forensic psych patients probably at their worst because they're not stabilized yet on medications. They are acting out on their behaviors and their psychoses. And then we have 2 other buildings which are more for recovery, where we are still working on helping them get the skills they need to go back into the community and function. We have job, what do we call it? Working for recovery, where they could get a job around the grounds and work on just being able to respond to authority in a positive way and gain some job skills so they have something they could do when they leave, if that would be a benefit to them. The music therapy program has been around since 1988, and we have seen through the last internship director and myself, we've seen 150 interns come through and finish in our program. So we're pretty proud of that. Let's see, the internship is 6 months, 140 or 1,040 hours. You would be part of your direct supervisor's treatment team, and that would be the psychiatrist, a psychologist, social worker, nursing staff, rehab staff, and the music therapist who was part of the rehab staff. You would also, aside from working under your direct supervisor, you would get to work with all of the music therapists. We have 4 right now. 3, we have 1 in each building, and then me that goes to each building to work with the other music therapists. So you could possibly work your schedule so that you were mostly in one area. I like to have you be in all areas for at least a couple of groups in each building so that you see the transition, the progression of acute services and then the recovery services. So you would get to work with everybody. You would have 3 one-to-ones or more if you want, but mostly you'll be doing groups, and they are all co-led with music therapists, sometimes occupational therapists, sometimes therapeutic recreators, and then your 3 one-to-ones that you would choose and just do, individuals. One of those you would write a case review on. You will plan a special project that would be presented at the end, and a lot of interns choose to present the special group that they created. So yes, be thinking about what kind of group you would like to do. Maybe you've always wanted to do something with music therapy that you haven't had the right people to do it with, or you want to try it again with this particular population. So you would do a group on your own. Your direct supervisor would be in the room with you because we have certain protocols. We co-lead all of our groups for safety purposes, and because interns aren't really considered staff, you can't have patients by yourself. So your supervisor would be in the room with you just to cover that safety aspect. So you get to choose the patients you would have in your group, and it's your group. You design it, you figure out how you're going to run it, and it's all you. So your supervisor would never have any input during the sessions unless there was a great need for that. Let me see. Forget. I've talked about this for so long, and I can never remember everything I want to say about the program. Our hospital, we're about 230 patients in the hospital, and they're all, like I said, they all live there and do all their groups and everything there. We have equipment available in every building that you would be doing music therapy. You can use guitars and pianos and keyboards and all kinds of rhythm instruments. Trying to think, what else do you want to know? That might be just about it. I'll probably think of 400 things after I sign off here, but I will be around for the question and answers. And I think my packet of information is in that list of all of the stuff that you get there. So, but if not, my address is susan.glaspell@maryland.gov, and I'd be happy to send you any information. Okay, I think that's about it.
All right, thank you so much, Susan. Our next speaker will be Josie Brown from Trustbridge.
Thank you so much. Would it be okay if I share my screen? Okay.
Yep, you should have access to do that now.
Alrighty. Thank you. Okay. So I'm so happy to be here with you all today. My name is Josie Brown. I am the Music Therapy Manager and Internship Director at Trustbridge Hospice and Palliative Care. I'm here to tell you a little bit about our Addison Hines Music Therapy Internship Program today. So a little bit about Trustbridge. Trustbridge is a nonprofit hospice and palliative care organization, and we are based in South Florida in the greater Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach area. So that's Palm Beach and Broward counties. And these are just a little bit about our beliefs at Trustbridge. So our vision is to provide an unmatched healthcare experience for families in their time of need, providing access to compassionate, expert, and professional healthcare services throughout the lifespan. And our values are excellence, integrity, teamwork, compassion, accountability, and pride. So some of the internship objectives that we hope interns gain through our program, the first is to develop a deep understanding of hospice philosophy, plans of care, and how music therapy plays a role in the hospice setting. There is a lot of repertoire that's learned in hospice to best connect with people of all sorts of backgrounds. So we really hope our interns build a vast repertoire of music from various genres, decades, cultures, and faith traditions. There is a high level of musicality that comes along with our internship program, specifically when it comes to voice and guitar, just the mobile nature of our program, driving to patient homes. Guitar and voice seem to be the most optimal, but that does not mean that keyboard or other instruments can't be used in the therapeutic setting. In addition to careful consideration of dynamics and how they may impact the therapeutic outcome. Interns will appropriately assess and revise physical and psychosocial domains through observation, review of clinical information, and consultation with the interdisciplinary team to create individualized and measurable goals. So there's a lot of teamwork in hospice. The core interdisciplinary team includes nurses, social workers, spiritual care counselors or chaplains, and a physician. And the music therapists here at Trustbridge are an integral part of that team. In visits, you'll utilize music therapy interventions, counseling skills, and verbal, nonverbal communication to address clinical goals, responding to significant events as they occur. And lastly, maintain a high level of professionalism, including but not limited to adherence of ethics, HIPAA, standards of clinical practice, professional boundaries, self-care measures, organizational skills, self-awareness of strengths and areas for growth, and reception to supervision and constructive feedback. Some key points when it comes to our program: we currently have a growing team of 6 full-time music therapists, and 3 of our current staff were actually interns with us at one point. We have a long-standing internship program. It was established in 1999, and I think that it, because we've been around so long, it's really clear that music therapy is an integral part at Trustbridge, and staff all across the board recognize our role and how we can benefit patients and families at the end of life. Our internship provides 1,040 clinical training hours, which comes out to be 28 weeks or 6 months. We offer 10 days of PTO, and very excited to share that recently we doubled our stipend. So we are offering a generous stipend of $12,000 plus mileage reimbursement. I think the current rate is 48 cents a mile. And that payment is dispersed over the internship at $2,000 a month. In 2024 specifically, we're really hoping to offer employment opportunities to interns who complete an internship with us. So especially if you are really interested in hospice and palliative care, that's absolutely something to consider in our program. Some internship highlights: we not only provide immersive hospice and palliative care experience in a culturally diverse area. I'm originally from Indiana, and I moved down to South Florida for my internship about 8 years ago. And I always heard it referred to as a melting pot, and that's really true. I mean, there's people from all over the world who end up in South Florida. So, you know, just being able to interact with and connect with those kinds of people from all over is something that our internship provides. We provide visits in assisted living facilities, skilled nursing facilities, inpatient units, and patient homes. We have 8 inpatient units throughout the 2 counties. We'll also offer bereavement experience. Our music therapy department collaborates often with our bereavement department in participation in children's grief camps, both teen and adult grief support groups, and memorial events. Providing community advocacy and internal advocacy, and collaboration with co-interns and music therapy staff. As I mentioned before, there's an emphasis on the interdisciplinary approach, and interns will have the opportunity to participate in weekly patient care meetings. You'll also be trained to utilize electronic medical record systems, and all of our documentation is completed in real time. So I think this is so great because at the end of the day, you know, everything's done. You don't have to take any work home with you. And that brings me to the emphasis on the work-life balance and self-care to promote career longevity. So after the hours are 8:30 to 5, after 5 o'clock, we recognize that's your time, and really just focusing on those boundaries. We also provide interns with instruments, musical and clinical resources, equipment and technology, and professional guidance and feedback through resume review, mock interview, and CBMT exam prep. Our start dates, our next start date is January 2024. We have 2 spots that have been filled. The next availability is June 2024. We have 2 available slots, and the deadline is March 15th. And then following that, we have January 2025, 2 slots available, and the application deadline of September 1st. So I thought I'd just share a little bit of a testimonial from one of our current interns, Daniel Bentz. He comes to us from Berklee College of Music. Daniel has shared that one of the most meaningful aspects of his internship has been creating different legacies with patients, being able to provide families with a recording of their loved one's heartbeat to their favorite song on top of it, and creating their own songs through songwriting experiences to celebrate life and successes. Daniel had the opportunity to play saxophone with a patient who was a jazz pianist. They were actually working on kind of like a celebration of life final concert. And so Daniel feels that being able to be one of the last musicians that patient played with before passing was a huge honor and very impactful. And the word hospice is nothing to fear. It's an opportunity to learn not only about music therapy, but about death and dying in a really impactful and meaningful way. Daniel highly recommends it to anyone looking for an internship. Just give it a try and see if it's a good fit for you. It's been one of the most wonderful experiences for him. So I know hospice can be a little bit scary or intimidating, but I can assure you that the reward greatly outweighs the challenge that might come with working with individuals approaching the end of life. And then just some things to consider: are you compassionate, empathetic, adaptable, interested in holistic, person-centered care, eager to learn, a team player, and hoping to find deep fulfillment both personally and professionally? If you are one or all of these things, I really encourage you to look into our internship program because it very well could be the perfect fit. And then just a quote from hospice pioneer Dame Cicely Saunders: "You matter because you are you, and you matter to the end of your life. We will do all we can, not only to help you die peacefully, but also to live until you die." And so to learn more, you can visit our website. I also included my contact information, and please feel free to type in the chat if there is any questions that you have. I will also drop the link to our website in the chat as well. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. I believe that it's time for our Q&A. So go ahead and type out questions in the chat, or feel free to unmute and ask any of them a question.
Thanks, Colin. Yeah, why don't we start out with specific questions just to stay organized? So if you have a specific question for the people that have presented so far in our event, maybe you could identify them by their name or their internship site, and then ask it there. We'll start with questions that people are comfortable unmuting and asking. And while we're waiting for those, I'll go to the form and to the Zoom chat to see if I can find some specific questions for our internships.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Atkins. I am a fifth year student music. I am a fifth year music therapy student at William Carey University, currently on the market for internships. Now, I have a list of questions that I want to ask. Okay, first off, since the event is being recorded, where can we go to access it?
Thanks for asking that, Jimmy. All of our recordings will be listed on the AMTAS website. So there's an internship tab under the website, and once the event finishes, we will upload those Zoom recordings under that tab.
All right. And my second more important question is, do you know if there are any like music therapy internships in the Southeastern region? I am from Mobile, Alabama, and I want to see if there's any internships in my area.
That's a brilliant question too. So Jimmy, once you go on to our Google folder, and Anna, can you pop that in the chat too? So once you access our Google folder, this folder contains not only all the fact sheets and contact information for our internship sites that have presented, but it also includes all of our applicants for internship sites for National Roster Internships. So if you access each individual one, it should sort of tell the location there, but also we have everything organized by region on that master spreadsheet. So if you can't access that, you can let us know directly. And then I know there are people that are in that region as well. So I'm sure they can speak to that. While we're getting those links, I'll have Ashley speak to that.
Sure, Jimmy. I was just going to let you know that Tallahassee, Florida is in the Southeastern region.
Awesome. Good to know. Thank you.
I'm also popping in the chat the link to the directory search for AMTA, which has a list of all of the national roster sites. You just have to go down, specify like what population, anything like that, and it should be able to isolate those based on if there's an internship available for you.
Got it. Thank you.
Thanks for starting us off, Jimmy. Do you have any other questions?
Just one minor question, like what exactly is mileage reimbursement and why exactly do internships offer it?
Yeah, I'll let any internship director answer that.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and answer for Big Bend Hospice since I know I brought it up. So mileage reimbursement is very helpful because our interns and employees are driving their own vehicles to the patient's homes or nursing homes where they reside. So for Big Bend Hospice, hospice care is provided wherever the patient lives. So we are putting wear and tear on our own vehicles. We are putting gas in our own cars. And so most healthcare agencies or most government entities will actually provide mileage reimbursement. And I think the current rate for federal, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's supposed to be like 65 cents a mile. So Big Bend Hospice is a little under that at 55 cents a mile, but it's well over the cost of gas. It definitely will help you with those oil changes, tire rotations, all those kinds of things. We are not actually required as an agency to provide mileage reimbursement for employees or interns, but we know it's the right thing to do, so we do it.
Thanks for that answer. If any other internships want to talk about mileage reimbursement, now's the time. If not, we'll ask to move on to other questions.
All right, those are all my questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Jimmy. Rose, do you have a question?
Yes, hi. I actually do have a question. I guess this one is kind of maybe for the Huntsman Cancer Institute as well as the Springfield Hospital Center. So you both said that you guys work with like a interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary team. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that, what that kind of looks like. How much do we work with people from other disciplines? Yeah.
That's a great question. I can speak to Huntsman, and then I can let our other internship directors speak to their site. But for Huntsman, it's kind of occasional. It's definitely not every day. We most often perform music therapy just as the sole practitioner or clinician in the room. But when we do co-treat with other disciplines like PT or OT, we'll be providing supportive music to support the PT's goals for the patient or the OT's goals for the patient. So just a brief example of that is there was an OT working with a patient and they work with activities of daily living, right? So a really important activity of daily living for this one patient was to go line dancing. She loved to line dance with all of her heart. And so the OT utilized her IV pole as kind of her line dance partner. And then I was able to provide some old country Western music that was really motivating and engaging for the patient. So it was just a supportive kind of music making experience with the OT. But otherwise, I've also worked with PTs where I've held a tambourine by a patient's foot if they need to work on moving their foot and was able to sing a song and get them to tap or kick, I guess, the tambourine with their foot. So that's an example. Otherwise, we do a lot of rounding on patients. So discussing patients' needs and profiles with the multidisciplinary team. So we meet once a week with our chaplains to talk about patients and share referrals to kind of see what's been going on in their lives and if we've encountered similar or different things in our own sessions with them. Similarly for social work, we'll do that too. So yeah, hope that helps with your question.
Thank you.
Hi,
Yeah.
Rose. The treatment teams in my hospital, we have 11 units, and so each unit has at least one psychiatrist. Sometimes they are split and have two psychiatrists, so different teams. But there's, as I said, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, social worker, the rehab staff, which would consist of a music therapist, an OT, TR, and then the nursing staff. They meet every morning to do report, just to talk about what the patients did the night before, how they were the day before, the night before. So we know what we are encountering as the day begins. And every couple of weeks, every month, I guess, the patients have a plan of care that is reviewed and rewritten. And in this, they look at the progress or lack of progress that the patient's making, and they will rewrite some goals, some objectives. And so you're just part of that whole team working for that particular patient, and helping them be directed along the lines of getting better. And so the plan of care is only a couple of times a week, maybe 3 times a week for about an hour. And in that they will review over the course of a month, they will have reviewed 24 patients. But you are there so that you can speak to how certain patients are doing in your music therapy groups. If you're seeing them one-to-one, you will see them in a different light than these patients act in other areas, whether they're on the unit or if they're in other groups. Most of them speak a lot more and tell us a lot more in music therapy groups than, say, psychiatrists or psychologists can get out of them just talking in a group. So, you may have some very important information to share with them. So that's how you would work. And I think we've all said that, sometimes you would work with always with your direct supervisor, but sometimes that supervisor is doing a group with a social worker or an addictions counselor, somebody like that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Rose. That was a great question. Anyone else interested in asking a question by unmuting their microphone?
I have a question. So, I'm Claire. I'm a senior in high school, and I was wondering, so I saw the website that you guys sent, for the finding like a region, like a search thingy, like a search toolbar to access like different organizations in different states and all of that. But I searched and then I only found one. So I found the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center internship, and I'm based in Pennsylvania, so I wonder if anyone has any like contacts with like people in Pennsylvania, like specifically in the southeast area of Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. What area of Pennsylvania are
Claire,
you
if
from?
you want to email me, I would have a list of the internship sites in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Let me put my address in here for you. Oops. Okay. And also I had started to write, somebody else suggested it as well. If you can access the AMTA website, under careers and educations, there is a listing or a heading saying national roster internships. Click on that and you can just type in or do the drop down and look for a specific state that you want a listing of all of the internship sites in that state. So just do the drop down, click Pennsylvania, and then hit submit, and it should print out or show you a whole list of all of the internship sites in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Thank you. Where did you say you pasted your email again?
In the chat.
Oh, I don't see it.
It's susan.glassbell@maryland.gov.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that information. Claire, while we have you on, I noticed that you asked another question for Susan. Has that question been answered or is it still outstanding?
I think it hasn't been answered yet.
Okay. So Susan, earlier Claire asked, is it primarily choosing one instrument for the music therapy internship and music therapy program?
Okay, if I understood her question, I think she was asking, is there one particular instrument that needs to be used during internship? And the answer is no. You know, we all music therapy students learn guitar and keyboard or piano. So where I am, it's expected that you will show us that you have those skills at some point during your internship. But, you know, if you use a ukulele more than a guitar, that's okay. You know, we just try to use live music as much as possible and not have to use recorded. Sometimes recorded music is the only thing we can use because that has the emotional feeling that we need to use for the song, for the music, and we just can't replicate what's going on in that song in live form. So we do use a lot of recorded music because at my hospital we use a lot of hip hop and rap. Not so good at that in live performance. So we will use what we need to reach the patients and engage them and get them talking.
Okay, so from what I understand, you would have to like be familiar at least with like several instruments. But if for me, like my main instrument, like the only instrument that I play is piano, like
Okay.
would that work out?
Sure. Yep.
Oh,
When you
okay.
go to school for music therapy, you will take guitar class. So
Yeah.
you can at least play a few chords to accompany a song.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you for that response. Anna, would you mind messaging Claire and just giving her our contact information? Claire, if you have any more questions about music therapy as a high school student, we will love to answer those on behalf of AMTAS. Thank you for showing up here in our event today. I'm going to be mindful of the time. So at 4:15 Eastern Standard Time, we will have a short break before our second session, which is non-medical. I'm going to pop over and see what questions there are in the form that are specific to our internship sites, and then I'll go ahead and ask some of the questions that were for everybody. Looking at our questions here in the form, here is our next question. So it says there was a mention of an internship site at the Huntsman Mental Health Institute as well. Is there any contact information for them?
I can speak to that. That's a great question. So our internship site at Huntsman Mental Health Institute is actually a university affiliated site. So unlike Huntsman Cancer Institute, who's on the national roster and is open to students from across the United States, Huntsman Mental Health Institute is open to students who are local, essentially. So Utah-based students. There's a music therapy program up at Utah State University. And again, I don't run that internship program, so I don't have all the details, but from my understanding and interaction with them, most of their students come from Utah State University. I could drop the internship director's name and email in the chat if that would be helpful for Huntsman Mental Health Institute.
Thank you, Mackenzie. We'd love to get that connection to the person that asked that question. I have one more question in the Q&A form. So while I'm accessing that, I'll invite anyone else who wants to pop their question in the chat or ask it by unmuting their microphone. Go ahead and do so now while I find our final question from the form.
I just have two quick questions. One, for those who spoke about interdisciplinary teams, I was wondering how much of the communication between team members would happen in person and how much would be on medical forms. And I'm just going to ask my second question for time. If we don't get to it, that's fine. But my other question was, a couple of presenters talked about doing a kind of a big project as part of the internship. Is that pretty standard across the board with internships, or is that kind of location by location differentiation?
Well, as far as the project, I don't know if it's standard across all internship sites, but I know it's just something that we like the interns to work on, so they can do a presentation in front of other disciplines about music therapy and how music therapy worked with a particular client, a patient, or how it worked in a particular group and what benefits they saw with the patients in a particular group. And then as far as the communication part of interdisciplinary teams, everybody writes progress notes and puts them in a patient chart. So you're always free to go and read those. But I think the biggest communication part is just being in the team meetings or the reports every morning and hearing what everybody has to say.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Ashley. I didn't want to cut you off. Okay. Just to answer a little bit of that question in terms of your the project question, my internship does have 2 projects. So one is kind of like a presentation that can be about general music therapy in a hospital setting. It could be more specific to an intervention or a case study or something like that. And then we do have a final project that the intern gets to choose multiple options from.
At Big Bend Hospice in Tallahassee, Florida, our interns are required to do a final project, and usually we give them guidance on how to choose their topic for that project. Most of the time it's based around a learning need. So I'm just trying to think of a good example here. Recently we had a very strong intern, but this person was struggling just a little bit with how to communicate with patients with dementia, who had confusion. And so this person did their very, very well thought out, very well written, 25-page project on how to communicate with patients who are confused. This person gave lots and lots of examples, lots of like written role plays. This student interviewed MTVCs and wrote down a lot of the feedback that they received during visits and how to improve their facilitation verbal skills with patients with dementia. It turned out to be a fantastic project, and we have a very large library of our former interns' projects, and we'll usually pull them as resources for our current project. So, I mean, at this point, I think I haven't counted recently, but there has to be at least 80, 90 very well-written projects for interns to just pull off the shelf. And hey, okay, are you having a little problem with, guitar accompaniment? I'm sure we have a project on that. Let's grab it. Are you having some trouble with life review or verbal facilitation skills? Let's pull that project. Other types of projects are maybe that the intern doesn't have like a very dire learning need. Maybe they're doing really well. They can do a strength-based project. So this is a little more creative. My current intern right now was a jazz guitar primary in school. So this student is doing a jazz music therapy project where this intern is taking, I think they have like 50 recordings of themselves playing highly familiar hospice jazz songs that are like highly requested in our internship. They're doing 3 levels of difficulty. So like a beginner version, an intermediate version, and an advanced version of really popular songs, so that other interns and other employees that come in will be able to pull this project and say, okay, I have a patient that just requested old jazz music. If I read this project from front to back and watch a few videos, I can probably increase my jazz guitar skills for this patient. And your other question was about communication with interdisciplinary team members. For us at Big Bend Hospice, it's daily, hourly. We also have that IDT meeting, which lasts at least 3 to 4 hours. Sometimes that meeting is weekly, sometimes it's bi-weekly, depending on the team. And that is just like a round table situation. Sometimes it's virtual with the physician, nurse, social work, chaplain, volunteers are invited, but they never come. The hospice aides are also invited, but they're so busy, they hardly ever come. But We use Teams, Microsoft Teams for communication. We use email. We have a secure chat through our electronic medical record system that we can send secure messages back and forth. So, I mean, anytime a patient is in pain or having negative symptoms, I'm calling my nurse right away. So, you know, lots of problems with patient family dynamics, psychosocial needs. I'm calling the social worker right away. Referrals go back and forth through the EMR and all of that. So we communicate with our team members a lot.
Thank you so much for answering those questions. If there's any other internships that have specific answers to the questions that were just answered or asked, can you pop those in our chat just to save time? We do have that non-medical session happening soon. And then Ashley, there was one more question about your start date. So if you pop that answer in the chat as well. Thank you guys for asking questions and connecting today. I think one of the biggest things we can do as AMTAS is serve your individual needs. And so it was really nice to hear a great amount of information in regards to the individual requirements for the national roster internships and overall student interest as well. Thank you for all the internship sites who attended this first session. We're going to go ahead and take a 5-minute break and then go to our second non-medical session. So if you want to continue to interact in the chat, that is more than welcome. But we're going to take this time and reset, roll our shoulders back, and get ready for a lot more information. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Sydney, Anna, and Colin from our AMTAS Executive Board for facilitating this first session. Thank you to our internship directors. We are so appreciative of all of you, including those who contributed to our shared Google Drive. So yes, we'll take a couple of minutes to transition for non-medical. I apologize for being off schedule, but appreciate your flexibility. As always, throughout this whole session, you can feel free to come in and out. These sessions will be recorded and uploaded on our AMTAS website. So if you need to rewatch, you definitely can. Continue to send questions in the chat, and I will put up our attendance link and program back up for those of you joining our second session today. Thank you.